What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time. What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time. What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time. About to be that time. That time. That time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
No way.
That's great.
Savage.
And we are back. One Piece 1074 is out. And not only are we back, the Queen is back. My Queen, the best character in the series. Bias, my favorite character in the series, Nefertari Vivi. We have been waiting a long time for this. We have not seen Vivi since the very, very early 900s. She's been mentioned. We've seen her in newspapers, but no, the last time that we physically saw her was during the Reverie. And then we found out that she was missing. Something happened. We knew that Cobra was, involved and likely dead. But as far as the rest of everything, not only was I wrong, but the entire community was wrong. Nobody suspected that she was actually with Wapol and going to Morgan's, even though in 956, Wapol had that conversation with Morgan's. Now, what I thought that was going to be was, hey, Princess Vivi used to be a pirate. She is a member of the Straw Hat crew. She needs a bounty and all of this, and then that would have gotten her wanted, and that would have been, pretty interesting to me. What seems to be the case here is that Wapol saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. All right, he is running with his head, all over the place here, talking about how they're going to be the next ones to get whacked, which certainly implies that he was present for a prior whacking.
There's got to be a better way to say that.
Anyway, Vivi is in control of this situation. Look at her body posture, boss status as usual. Even with everything that has happened to her, her stance, while she's closed off with her arms crossed, her legs are showing that she is relaxed and in control. And I believe that she is puppeteering Wapol at this particular time. She may have even defeated Wapol and then forced him to protect her. And I would love that because it would mean that she got back at Wapol for that slap so many years ago. Now, I thought that Wapol would have been responsible for Cobra's death in some fashion. Not that he would have been the person to kill Cobra, but he may have been the person to give up Cobra's location. Because they had a spat at a prior Reverie where they were arguing with each other and there was obvious animosity. So I always expected Wapol to be involved in some way, but not to the point where we're almost getting a redemption or that he's staying in the main story. It's going to be interesting to see where Oda goes with this. Ultimately, Vivi will be on Elbaf. All right, I am not wavering on that. All of the ties that she has are just as strong as the other Straw Hats based on the prior threads that were set up in Little Garden. Vivi knows Dory and Bragi. She should end up in Elbaf. That's where we should get the Straw Hat reunion, which is the main agenda on the channel. Vivi back with the Straw Hats. Member 5.5. This is the first chapter with Vivi physically in the chapter since I've been doing One Piece YouTube. This is the first chapter with my favorite character. Ascension. Now, as I previously said, I've always thought that Vivi would have been with Sai and Leo. Many people thought that she could have been with Sabo. We even talked about that on the channel before, but I always wanted it to be Sai and Leo because they also have Viver cards to Luffy, right? Now, what does that mean for Sai and Leo? I'm expecting now that they may have tried to protect Vivi based on her relationship with Luffy, and maybe they're captured now. We've talked about Impel Down 2.0 a lot, and how we need more ties to, the Straw Hats to make it work, and I've always wanted the Grand Fleet involved. And I was talking about it from the sense of the Grand Fleet doing the breakout or being responsible for the breakout, and that's the thing that was mentioned at the end of Dressrosa, this big event that the Grand Fleet would be responsible for. If Sai and Leo are sent to Impel Down, it would give Barto, Cavendish, Orlumbus, and the rest of the guys the drive to go and get them out. And then in the process, we would also get, Bon Clay, Doflamingo would get out, Senor Pink would get out, maybe Foxy, Smoker, if the idea that we talked about, in the last chapter, ends up happening, different things like that. But either way, I still expect an Impel Down 2.0, and to put more people there that we have an attachment to, the better. Need Vivi in 1075. Please, Oda. Please, okay? I do not expect us to get any Reverie lore, though, until Vivi is with the Straw Hats. Will Oda wait until 1,000 chapters have passed from Vivi's introduction, which was in chapter 102, 103? Will we get Vivi back with the crew in 1102, 1103? I could see Oda doing it. At this point, I could see Oda doing it. Especially considering we got Vivi back right around her birthday. Her birthday's in February. Oda's been doing that a lot. He did it with Law, he did it with Blackbeard. This is all on purpose. One of the biggest panels that's getting floated around right now is from chapter 823. And Igaram says, while Vivi is in the crow's nest, "Careful, what if a giant bird snatches you away?"
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
The rest of the chapter. Ugh. I just spent however long just talking about the last page, but I mean, that's what you guys came here for. Most of you know that, I was gonna go off on the Vivi stuff anyway. We spent some time with Bonnie in Memory World, okay? Young Kuma getting beaten up. The implication here, if you read into the context of what's being said, is that Kuma is a slave, and the people beating him up are also slaves. And they are trying to stop him from escaping or being outside of the zone that he's supposed to be in, because they too do not want to receive repercussions for what he is doing. One of the shadows of the Celestial Dragons that we see towards the end of this segment looks very much like Saint Roswald. And who was riding Kuma during the reverie? Saint Roswald, Charlos's father. So, what I'm expecting is that Roswald was the original owner of Kuma, and that everything has probably been from the perspective of Roswald wanting his property back. Somehow, Kuma escaped, or there was some sort of an agreement that came across. Maybe Sorbet was like an island of slaves, and Kuma just became their king, and then, maybe something happened, they all got found out, and Kuma sold out his kingdom of slaves back into slavery to save Bonnie or something, and that's why he was considered a tyrant. There's so many implications here. There's so many different avenues that this can go. And we're really in for a ride when we get this information. But Kuma being a slave really tracks, especially with him, joining the freedom fighters, joining up with the Revolutionary Army, trying to take down the Celestial Dragons, right? And this also would explain why the Revolutionary Army was going so hard to get Kuma back, because they knew his past. They're like, wait, this dude was a slave, now he's a slave again. We're gonna put an end to this. And it's also why they're probably so confused with him going back. But still, the thing that makes the most sense is that if he starts attacking Marijoa, then Kizaru and the rest of the Marine forces will have to turn around to save the Celestial Dragons, which will allow Luffy and the gang to get away. We are introduced to a ton of Robocops, a ton of Arnolds. There is a veritable army here. 50 Mark IIIs. What happened to the Mark IIs? Were those the ones we saw in Film Z? Maybe. You know, who knows? But either way.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Things are looking a little lopsided in the favor of the Straw Hats, right? But that's why Saint J. Garcia Saturn is here, because his authority chip will be way higher than Centaurus. So Saturn will give the order, and then suddenly there will be 50 Mark IIIs after the Straw Hats. We are gearing up for the Sabati parallel. This arc is not going to end well. It's not going to end well. They're gonna have, we're gonna get some cool moments, but this is gonna be a devastating blow for the Straw Hats where they just have to leave. Oh, and also this thing has bubble powers? So is this Khalifa's fruit? Or is this a byproduct of the resin from the archipelago also tying us even further to the archipelago? The way that it's worded that this is an invention of Vegapunk implies that maybe it's not a devil fruit. But either way, like, this bubble shield tanked a cannon, which we did see the coating for the ship was able to withstand that as well. It can't withstand much. The main Stella, still missing. We did talk about in our predictions for this chapter that most of this chapter would be centered around trying to find the Stella and organizing a group to go and find him. Now, it seems that Pythagoras may be the closest to this because there is a mysterious force or faction that is on the island right now that we have probably not been introduced yet. Could it be Caribou? Yeah, but that's almost too obvious, right? And one of the big things here that we've been told in recent chapters is that Blackbeard has an extreme interest in the Mero no Mi. Love fruit, Hancock's fruit, right? So he couldn't get it from Hancock because Hancock was being protected by Rayleigh, and it stands to reason that Blackbeard and his crew would try an alternate route to get that fruit. And who was on Amazon Lily? A snake, who had a duplicate of the Mero no Mi. So if I'm Blackbeard and I'm, galaxy-brained like him, I would probably send some of my men to go and kidnap the Seraphim, or kidnap the guy who replicated the fruit in the first place so that he can do it again. So my prediction is that Shiryu, maybe Lafitte, since we haven't seen him, Bizarro, who knows? Katarina Devon? She was at Amazon Lily, so maybe not Katarina. Still would be interesting. But either way, I'm really on board with the Blackbeard pirates, some of them being there to kidnap Vegapunk and probably S-Snake as well. We got new outfits for Zoro and Brook. I like Brook's. It's goofy, it's fun. Zoro's, I like the top half. The bottom half is a big no. Big no. No, negative drip. Negative drip. Top half certified. Bottom half, no. So where do we go from here? The real main chapter ended with the Pythagoras explosion. So we need to follow up on that. Will we find out who the mysterious faction is? Is it the Blackbeard Pirates? Who knows? I would love if we eventually find out that there is a specific tie to Saturn, J. Garcia Saturn, and Kuma's past. It would, bring a lot of things full circle if, there's just something there. Where we get the sorbet flashback, Bonnie gets thrown out, and then she has a personal vendetta against J. Garcia. That would be fun. I'd like something like that. Will we see more of Vivi and Big News Morgans? Yes. Will it be in the next chapter? I hope so. Please, please. But we know Oda. He'll, go and do something else and just let us keep guessing and guessing and guessing. But just give us a direction. Let us know where the blimp is going. And Kizaru and the Marines, they've got to land. Because we're at a point where the stacks are really lopsided in our favor. So I think the next couple of chapters are going to be about breaking down that advantage that the crew has. And that's going to wrap things up for 1074, a monumental chapter. So good. Sensational. And shout out to all of our members, everybody that supports the channel. Thank you so much for your continued support. I know there, hasn't been much content during this break, and that was because, we're obviously moving. We're still in the process of that. But, and the stream for this chapter was a little wonky because the internet wasn't completely set up yet. We're going to have a makeup stream for this chapter. We're going to do a post discussion like Morge does. That'll probably be on Tuesday. It'll be a later stream. And I'm also going to start going back into doing some One Piece Odyssey streams. So you'll see those pop up right here on YouTube. Those will also probably be streams that are later in the night. It's just the way my schedule is going to work out for a while, but I'd like to get back into the game. So maybe I'll see you guys there, and we'll certainly be back here next Sunday for 1075, and then the analysis, that Monday. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.